Anyway, let's move on. Going from water to volcanoes. This is Etna, or an Etna landscape. You can see the total destruction here, quite about a third way up the mountain in Catania. And there I was called to do a small kind of happening, musical happening with a mix of musicians and non-musicians, but it was an event in a fantastic location, a magical location that was truly inspiring. Again, putting music in these, let's call them, for lack of a better word, inspiring spaces, is not an easy task. The power of a volcano such as this, or even the power of the Thames River, when you see it really flowing and, its relentless force is really something to reckon with. But again, this comes into the music somehow, and so this is not just a backdrop. It's a place where I feel I get my I get my real energy from. And if I were Florian Dombois, I would have somehow managed to bore a microphone into the earth and record. No, because at the time the volcano was not erupting. Otherwise we couldn't be there. But it certainly was active, and you could certainly hear the earth growling and grumbling and burping and doing whatever it does. Anyway, this on a more simple place was a work. I was called to open the Eröffnungstag of the Frankfurter, what is it called? Festwochen. And here I did something very simple. I wish I could play it. I don't have the recording with me. But I decided to turn this structure, the Alte Oper in Frankfurt, into a loudspeaker. And so I had all of the windows open, all of the doors open, everything from even into the in the basement. And I filled it with sound so that the entire building was heard as a single musical object. And the sound I used was the sound of the recordings of 78 lyric operas, special ones that were played there historically in the beginning of its history. And I played them all at once, just mixed, as if one new opera made from 78 octaves, just and this heave of screaming and bass drums and cymbals and sopranos and basses, and I was really quite into that. But anyway, I succeeded in making this into itself, actually, into its own history. This a much less happy work, but one which was very elaborate and extremely considered over the years, and it ended up in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Was a work that I did in collaboration with a conceptual artist, Melissa Gould from New York. She was at the time. Her work is about recreating lost spaces, that is, places that don't exist anymore. This was a tiny synagogue, actually on the Oranienburger Straße, not the big one. This was a very small one, just opposite, almost opposite the old one. And so it's only, I forget, maybe 90 meters by 60 meters space. And I think now, it's right near the parking lot next to Tacheles, where anybody from Berlin knows where that was. So anyway, she decided to transform, to reanimate this place in light, to make it a light sculpture. And this was done at Ars Electronica Linz 91. I'm just going to run ahead. This is the construction site. The ditch there is where I'm about to put loudspeakers and cover it with earth and have the sound coming from under the earth. I'm just going to run through these because you can see loudspeakers here getting ready to go in. A very elaborate and costly project. You can see rolls of earth about to go back over the loudspeakers. And this is actually the piece. There's a sound here. You don't have to hear it. Again, it's the sound of thousands and thousands of voices. I took choral music from everywhere and just blended these voices. And the sound is actually coming in from other people's feet. From under the glass. And then this is the piece that Melissa created in light with rows of loudspeakers on the periphery of the structure. How are we doing for time? 10? Okay, I'm almost done. This is another piece that I will give you just a very, very small listen to this. It's a real piece of music for, I'll go back, for large forces, large choruses, and groups of instruments. The only difference from a normal concert, I decided to use all of Europe as a concert hall. And so there were 6 nations involved. This incidentally was to commemorate the Kristallnacht of 1938. And the countries were Denmark, Holland, France, Germany, of course, Austria, and Italy. Yeah. Did I say everybody? I think so, yeah. So in each country, there was a large chorus, a small group of musicians, including an accordionist and a percussionist, and then different instruments. Anyway, let's put, could you put number 2 on? Yes. Okay, so there was no real synchronization because obviously we had musicians in 6 different locations from 6 different major cities. So there was, rather than use a click track, I'm a believer in just nature, just let things happen the way they do. We did have a start together, and then each conductor in each country had a kind of not a real click track, but something that said every 10 seconds where they were. So they knew pretty much how to stay together, but the staying together was really not important, only to begin and end together, which it did. What was important was that there were 6 large groups of musicians all over Europe performing without seeing or hearing each other. So they only heard the people in their own place. And each of those was a concert unto itself. And this form of, call it danger music, very dangerous, because no one knows the outcome. No one really knows what's going on. The Danes don't know what's happening in Italy. They never do. And vice versa, and so on. And so this piece was a conceptual work, but a real work of collective participation, and a work based on just pure human trust, because people trust in each other. It can happen. Can we hear track 2? Track 2.